These images still so powerful here. When 9/11 hit, everybody in America knew in an instant we were under attack. Almost everyone.
Things are different in boot camp. You're kind of cut off from the world. You don't have everyday communication.
A group of Marines who would be some of the first called to defend us could not be sure their drill sergeants weren't messing with their heads during boot camp.
Tonight only on 3 TV News, Nicole Kreitz has a story of one man who signed up to serve and went from basic training straight to war because of what happened 17 years ago today.
Terrorists hijacked commercial jets, crashing into landmarks, killing nearly 3,000 Americans. It didn't seem real. While live news reports reinforced the unthinkable,
I was actually out on the firing lines.
Justin Henderson didn't have that luxury.
Things are different in boot camp. You're kind of cut off from the world. You don't have everyday communication.
So when Marine drill sergeants train to throw you off your physical and mental game, call the platoon together with news you'd never expect in a million years.
There were jets, flying up and down the corridors all through the West Coast, up and down downtown San Diego, and just everywhere. That the entire country was just in panic mode.
Justin's reaction was understandable.
And it sounds ridiculous, but at first we didn't even believe them.
It didn't truly sink in until they saw the Sunday paper 4 days later.
I think it was at that moment and at that time that we all realized and believed that we really were going to be the next generation of Marines that were not just thrown into combat, but we were going to be asked to defend our nation. There's a difference.
And when the time came, every one of his boot camp brothers crossed the line to volunteer to go straight into combat.
It was titled Personal Security Detail for the Battalion Commander.
May 7th, 2005, chance and circumstance thrust his team into an ambush in Haditha.
It was just that week we swapped duties with another platoon. We got the call that there was unrest in the city.
Insurgents had taken hostages at the hospital.
And then it all just went south very, very quickly.
A suicide bomber took out their first Humvee.
I remember looking up after that initial explosion, seeing an insurgent on top of the hospital with an RPG. And when he fired that RPG, it hit the bulletproof glass on the passenger side and it didn't go off. And then it exploded when it hit the ground, just about took my entire front end of the Humvee out. Things kind of go in slow motion sometimes. But to be pinned down in that type of a situation for 30, 40, 50 minutes, it seems like an eternity. It really does. 4
Marines died that day. That's why to him, on this day and every day, service and sacrifice and patriotism in an increasingly indifferent America are even more important to remember, respect, and fight for.
I look at everything differently now that I've got a child. Now's the time to take a sidestep, really think about it. Think about your world. Think about what type of world that you want to leave for your children.
As a new father, Justin says he is more hopeful than fearful for our future because tragedies from our past can inspire us to be intentional about taking nothing for granted. Nicole Kreitz, 3 TV.